Liberalism. Liberalism is a political and moral philosophy rooted in ideals of freedom and equality. It advocates for individual rights, such as freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to private property. These rights are considered essential for the development of each individual's potential. In the economic sphere, liberalism supports free market principles, arguing that limited government intervention in markets leads to the most efficient and beneficial outcomes for society. In terms of its impact on social sciences, liberalism has profoundly influenced political science, economics, and legal studies. It champions the idea that democracies are the most effective form of government for protecting individual liberties and fostering economic prosperity. Researchers in these fields often explore how liberal policies like deregulation, privatization, and reduction of government size impact economic performance and individual freedoms. In sociology, studies might focus on how liberal values influence social behavior and cultural norms, examining issues like gender equality and racial integration within liberal frameworks. Overall, liberalism has been a catalyst for discussions on how freedom and equality intersect and influence various societal outcomes. Conservatism. Conservatism is an ideology that values tradition, order, and stability, often emphasizing the importance of maintaining established institutions and practices. Conservatives typically argue that social structures have evolved over time to provide stability and continuity, and thus, sudden or radical changes can lead to unintended consequences. This ideology supports a hierarchical structure in society, believing it reflects a natural order where different roles and responsibilities contribute to the overall well-being of the community. In social sciences, conservatism has influenced fields such as political science, sociology, and psychology by shaping discussions about the role of tradition and change in society. Political scientists study how conservative ideologies influence government policies, particularly in areas like welfare, education, and healthcare, where conservatives often advocate for limited government intervention. Sociologists might examine how conservative values affect family structures, gender roles, and religious practices within different cultures. Additionally, psychological research into conservatism has explored how personality traits like openness to experience and conscientiousness correlate with conservative beliefs, suggesting a deeper psychological basis for this ideological preference.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Socialism. Socialism is an ideology that seeks to reduce economic inequality by advocating for the redistribution of wealth and greater state involvement in the economy. Unlike capitalism, which relies heavily on market forces and private ownership, socialism emphasizes public or cooperative ownership of the means of production. Socialists argue that this structure not only prevents the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few but also ensures that economic resources are distributed in a way that meets the needs of all members of society, not just those who can afford them. In the social sciences, socialism has significantly impacted economic theory, political science, and sociology. Economists study how different socialist policies, such as nationalization of industries or progressive taxation, affect economic growth, efficiency, and income distribution. Political scientists explore how socialist ideals influence political movements and regimes, examining the dynamics between voter preferences, party politics, and policy outcomes in socialist or social democratic governments. Sociologists might investigate the societal impacts of socialism, including changes in social class structures, the role of unions, and the development of welfare states. These studies help illuminate how socialist principles operate in practice and how they affect various aspects of life, including work, health, and education. Socialism challenges the notion that economic systems are neutral, highlighting the ethical and social dimensions of economic policies and their profound impact on people's lives. Communism. Communism represents a radical form of socialism that aims to create a classless society where all property is owned communally, and each individual contributes and receives according to their abilities and needs. It envisions a world free from economic disparities and class struggle, where the state's eventual dissolution leads to true societal equality. The ideology is heavily influenced by the works of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, who critique the capitalist system for exploiting the working class and believe that only through a revolutionary change could a just society be established. In the realm of social sciences, communism has had a profound influence, particularly in political theory, anthropology, and history. Political theorists analyze the theoretical underpinnings of communism, exploring its potential for realizing human equality and the challenges it faces in practice, such as the tendency towards authoritarianism as seen in various historical communist states. Anthropologists might study the cultural and social life under communist regimes, examining how communal ownership and state policies affect daily life, social norms, and community relationships. Historians research the impact of communist movements and governments across the world, assessing their successes, failures, and the legacies they have left behind. These academic explorations provide insights into the practical applications of communist principles and their effects on society, economy, and governance, offering lessons on the complexities of implementing such a transformative ideology. Fascism. Fascism is a far-right authoritarian ultranationalist ideology that is characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, and strong regimentation of society and the economy. It emerged in early 20th century Europe, with notable manifestations in Mussolini's Italy and Hitler's Germany. Fascism espouses extreme nationalist sentiments, often coupled with racism, xenophobia, and the myth of national rebirth following decline or humiliation. It seeks to forge a unified national community through totalitarian control, rejecting democratic governance, liberalism, and socialism. In social sciences, the study of fascism provides crucial insights into how extreme ideologies can manipulate mass psychology, culture, and politics. Political scientists examine the factors leading to the rise of fascist regimes, including economic instability, social unrest, and the failures of democratic systems to address national crises. Sociologists might explore the societal impacts of fascism, such as the alteration of community structures, the propagation of propaganda, and the enforcement of conformity through terror and policing. Historians and cultural studies scholars analyze the symbols, rituals, and narratives fascists used to construct a sense of identity and legitimacy. Understanding fascism's appeal and mechanics is essential for preventing its resurgence. It also serves as a grim reminder of the potential for radical ideologies to subvert individual freedoms and societal norms in pursuit of absolute power. Anarchism. Anarchism is a political ideology that advocates for the abolition of all forms of hierarchical government, proposing instead a society based on voluntary cooperation and mutual aid. Anarchists critique the state as inherently oppressive and believe that true freedom can only be achieved when individuals are free from both governmental and economic domination. This ideology encompasses a wide range of subtypes, including anarcho-communism, anarcho-syndicalism, and anarcho-pacifism, each proposing different methods of achieving a stateless society. In social sciences, anarchism has influenced political philosophy, anthropology, and sociology by challenging traditional views on power, authority, and social organization. Political philosophers analyze anarchism's critique of authority and explore alternative models of governance that do not rely on centralized power structures. Anthropologists may investigate historical and contemporary societies that operate on principles akin to anarchistic ideals, studying how these societies manage order, conflict resolution, and social welfare without a formal state apparatus. Sociologists examine the dynamics within movements that adopt anarchist principles, observing how they organize, make decisions, and maintain cohesion without hierarchical leadership. The study of anarchism in social sciences not only enriches our understanding of political theory and human behavior in non-hierarchical contexts but also offers insights into the possibilities and challenges of organizing societies around autonomy and horizontal relationships. It prompts questions about the nature of power and the feasibility of radical egalitarianism in complex modern societies. Feminism. Feminism is a broad movement that seeks to address and rectify inequalities between genders, aiming for social, political, and economic equality. Originating in the 19th century with the suffragette movement, which fought for women's voting rights, feminism has evolved to challenge a wide range of issues including workplace discrimination, reproductive rights, and gender-based violence. Feminists argue that many societies have been historically patriarchal, favoring male authority and limiting women's roles and opportunities. In social sciences, feminism has profoundly influenced disciplines such as sociology, political science, and cultural studies. It has introduced concepts like gender as a social construct and intersectionality, which examines how different aspects of social and political discrimination overlap. Sociologists use feminist theory to analyze family dynamics, workplace hierarchies, and media representations. Political scientists study the impact of feminist movements on policy making and governance, exploring how advocacy can lead to legal reforms and shifts in public opinion. Furthermore, feminist critiques have reshaped discussions around power and identity in cultural studies, challenging traditional narratives and promoting diverse voices. Feminism continues to push for systemic change, advocating for a more inclusive and equitable society that challenges old hierarchies and values diversity. Environmentalism. Environmentalism is a movement aimed at protecting the natural environment through practices and policies that mitigate human impact. It addresses issues such as pollution, deforestation, climate change, and species extinction, advocating for sustainable practices and conservation efforts. Environmentalists push for changes in public policy, corporate behavior, and individual lifestyle choices to foster a sustainable relationship between humans and the environment. In social sciences, environmentalism has significantly influenced fields like sociology, political science, and economics. Sociology examines how environmental issues affect different communities, particularly vulnerable populations who may be disproportionately impacted by pollution or climate change. This field also studies the cultural and social factors that influence environmental attitudes and behaviors. Political science explores the policy-making process related to environmental issues, including the role of international agreements and the impact of environmental advocacy groups on government policies. Economists analyze the costs and benefits of environmental regulations and the concept of externalities, or costs of production that are not borne by producers but are instead passed on to society, such as pollution. Environmentalism has reshaped how societies view the relationship between economic development and environmental preservation, emphasizing that long-term sustainability requires a balance that respects ecological limits. Capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system where private individuals rather than the state own and control property and businesses. This system is characterized by private ownership of the means of production, the creation of goods or services for profit in a competitive market, and wage labor. Capitalism is driven by the motives of profit and the accumulation of capital. Its proponents argue that it drives innovation, economic growth, and consumer choice, often leading to higher standards of living. In social sciences, capitalism is a central object of analysis across various disciplines. Economists study how capitalist markets operate, focusing on issues like supply and demand, price mechanisms, and the role of government in regulating economic activities. Sociologists examine the social consequences of capitalism, such as class stratification, urbanization, and changing family structures, often critiquing how capitalism can lead to social inequalities and alienation. Political scientists investigate how capitalism influences government policies and global politics, including trade relationships and international diplomacy. Capitalism's impact on society is profound and multifaceted, affecting everything from individual lifestyle choices to global political structures. It has been praised for fostering economic freedom and criticized for contributing to economic disparity, making it a pivotal and contentious topic within social sciences. Marxism. Marxism is a socio-economic and political ideology developed by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels that provides a framework for analyzing material conditions and class relations within society. It posits that societal progress occurs through a dialectical process spurred by class struggles. Marxism views history as a series of conflicts between the ruling class, which controls the means of production, and the oppressed classes. According to Marx, this conflict will ultimately lead to the overthrow of the capitalist system and the establishment of a classless, communist society. In the social sciences, Marxism has deeply influenced various fields, particularly sociology, political science, and history. Sociologists utilize Marxist theory to understand social inequality, economic power dynamics, and how material conditions influence social structures. Political scientists apply Marxist analysis to explore the role of power and ideology in shaping political institutions and behaviors. Historians use Marxism to interpret historical events and movements, particularly focusing on how economic forces have shaped societies throughout history. Marxism has not only provided a critical lens for examining issues of power, inequality, and economic relations but also inspired numerous social and political movements around the world. Its emphasis on conflict and change continues to provoke debate, making it a crucial component of social science discourse.